gonna be stuck doing it with me.
Okay.
So
You
I'm
talking
gonna
about your
do that.
fake husband? You know you're not married. Stop imagining.
I am married, but you don't even hear my kids, so it doesn't matter what people say or what people think. You hardly hear my kids in here, and I got 4 of them in here. So my house is quiet. It's not the chaos that people used to. And I don't even get on TikTok when I'm around my husband. I don't like that.
Hey, Queen, what's going on here? Hey, y'all.
Hey, Dime, how you doing?
Good. What's up?
Oh, girl, just hanging out, trying to get my little Saturday morning schedule in.
Okay,
Are you
girl.
talking? Because it went out, Dime.
Yeah, I am. You can hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay. Hey, Drop.
Hi, how are you?
Good, and you?
Good, thank you.
Okay.
How long did you stay up last night, girl?
I don't know. I don't know what time I ended up going to sleep. I be having to get my rest sometimes. What you was about to say, Drop?
Your beauty rest. Remember your beauty rest.
Yes, my beauty rest.
Let them know. I was gonna say I just came up here to talk about this intellect thing and what makes you smart and what makes you not smart. Because as soon as I heard you say that, the first thing came to my mind is how do you measure someone's intellect on TikTok?
Child, I don't know what the hell. I just got on here because on Saturday mornings when I'm actually not at work, I go touch grass with my kids. But I did hear some riffraff about what's the girl name? What is her name?
Alex?
Alexandria, yeah, running around crying about somebody said something about her on the panel, but I'll talk about that later. But I don't measure nobody's goddamn intellect on here because I think 90% of the people on TikTok are very stupid. So I really don't measure their intellect on here. It's not that important to me.
Okay, well, why you think she constantly talks about it? Because she says it a lot when she's talking. She adds it into all of her, her commentary.
I'm not going to talk
it's
about
always,
her directly.
oh, you are not smart. You're not the brightest. You guys don't know. Thank you so much, Royale. I mean, you know what I mean? Why does she always try to say that she's smarter than the place that she frequents on a daily basis?
I'm not going to talk about her directly, but I'm going to talk about something. I always tell my husband, he's 5 years younger than me, but I always tell him he's very wise. He's a very wise man. Mm-hmm. He says, I don't know that. That's not for me to know. That's for somebody else to know. You know what I'm saying?
Well, that's what I meant, yeah.
And boast that I'm wise or I'm this or I'm that. Because if you're really that, other people will continue to say that about you. It's not something you have to say about yourself. When you say it about yourself, it seems like you're trying to prove it to yourself or prove it to somebody else. And last, I want to say that because you use big words, don't mean you're using them right. But because you use big words, it may mean you just were raised in a place where that's prevalent. My kids are very intellectual. They're all really smart. But we ghetto. I'm ghetto as fuck. I can use big words when I want to, but I'd rather be in my peace, in my natural state of being ghetto. When I go to those white folks' job, I sit at the table with the white boss and go toe-to-toe with him. When I come home, I'm laid back and I can cuss everybody the fuck out. So you can't prove intellect by anything that we see on TikTok. Everybody say they have a degree. I ain't seen none of them. You know what I'm saying? Where Dime went? She left?
Yeah.
Okay, I ain't gonna be on here long, Dime. Come back. Yeah. So, they say I run my mouth. I like to talk. But yeah, so you can't measure intellect by anything we see. You know what? I'm gonna get me a list of big words and have them on the side of me every time I talk. Then people like Nosy won't say I'm stupid. Maybe I won't be stupid if I use more big words.
I've never heard her call you stupid, but let me say.
Oh, yes, she did.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. When everything happened with Diamond, she said I was stupid.
Okay.
We've been having a problem ever since. So, yeah. But I'm a mute. But that's just my 2.2 about smarts. I don't know what we really have to be smart about on here. We're not solving any equations to build any bridges. We're talking about bullshit that most people can't accomplish. We're talking about relationships. People are giving advice on relationships that can't keep relationships. We're giving advice on money management from broke motherfuckers. I mean, what? We're not even having an intellectual conversation on TikTok, you know? Because most of the people talking don't have proof of their intellect in their lives. And I'll keep saying that. You want to prove to me that you're brilliant? Let your life look different. I'll say that.
Well, welcome in. Well, I like to look up. I like to use my resources, and the reason being because for me, I feel like I'm a very intelligent person, but my strength is not speaking. In fact, I say that I would take Toastmasters to help me with speaking, especially in front of a crowd. So my strengths are not definitely speaking. But I do find myself, I do see myself as a very, intelligent woman. Right. And so I said to myself, and I do know that, intelligence does not equate to a college degree, because if you look at a college degree, if you look at college, all the programs are different. People go and practice what they want to, and they learn some of those things. And even from a GPA perspective, some people are 4.0, some people 2.0, right? But somebody with a 2.5 can go out there and do better once they graduate in the career that their choice that they chose, more so than someone with a 4.0. And there's a lot of factors that come into place when it comes to that, right? I have helped with me not having a degree. I have helped people like doctors, right? More so than anything, doctors, open up businesses because they didn't have the business acumen, right? Acumen. Some people say acumen. I don't know. So again, but they don't have that, right? So they need help in understanding how to run and operate a business. And sometimes people have a problem in seeing that they can make more money, how to capitalize more on their current business. I mean, we can go on and on. So when it comes to intelligence, I mean, I don't know what she's...
So how do we measure it? Because I only brought up college degrees because sometimes people like to equate a college degree, and that doesn't really mean anything, because I know some people that have to study to make A's and other people that don't have to study at all. So they both can have a 4.0, but one is more challenging to do because they have to study so much to do it. So when we're on social media, how do you measure intellect on social media?
Hey, Doc, welcome in. You wanted to add to the conversation? Welcome in, Dr. Courageous.
Hey, Queen, how are you? Hey, Drop. So listen, intelligence is simply the ability to acquire and apply knowledge, right? I happen to think that most of the people on this app is very intelligent. Look at the way they go out and they dox people, and then they apply it to some kind of, live, and then they go they go viral. I mean, so intelligence is not just a measure of how many books you read, how many degrees you have, or anything. It really is simply the acquiring and application of knowledge. And listen, I don't see that short anywhere. What this app lacks is a moral compass. People will say and do absolutely anything, no holds bar, and then they will violate one of those morals. They will see someone else violate one of those moral codes and then have a whole live about what they both did. That's the exact same thing. So there's a lot of hypocrisy. And, at the end of the day, however you use this platform, you just gotta know that you are going to reap what you sow. Whether it's discord or whether it's honor and edification, whatever that is that you put out here, you are getting it back. And I think that's another thing, is that people lack the awareness of the reaping and the sowing, right? I know you don't, because we talked about it, many times. And I think that's what we see. When we see people rise and then fall and then rise and then fall, that's the ebb and flow of their behavior. And the lesson to all of us is to watch your behavior, because it is coming back.
It does every time. I've watched it. I've seen it each time. Each time. Yeah.
Doctor, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, Drop.
Doctor, you said something that I've always stated, and I said it up here also. I didn't use the word application, but I don't remember what your word I used, but we can honestly say that the topics that we have, you brought up doxing, but the topics that we have in many of these panels, most of the people talking have not applied that to their life. So that's the only reason I disagree with you. They say they're so smart, they know this, they know that, they can do this and do that, but they're not applying it. So that's when it matters to me also. We may talk about money, we may talk about marriage, we may talk about men, we may talk about women, and a lot of us can't keep a man, a lot of us can't keep women, but everybody who can't keep shit, not money, not morals, not nothing, are the ones that's always talking.
Yeah, I hear you, but I'm not talking about the singularity of application, right? So when I use the example of doxing, there is a lot of maneuvering that you have to do to collect that information, to know where to get it, to post it, to strategically, whether they even know that that's what they're doing, that's what they're doing. Now, I'm not talking about the application of the lessons. That was my last point on here, is that people need to apply what they are learning on this app in real time. So in that instance, as you said earlier, you can't measure that because you don't know what people are actually doing in their real life. You know, you don't, but they are using this platform in a manipulative and disingenuous way, and they have mastered it. There are very few people that actually come on here to inform and edify people. And so to that, I say that that's a level of intelligence. Intelligence doesn't decide whether something is right or wrong. Intelligence is simply the application of the knowledge that you acquired. It has nothing to do with whether or not it's holistic or it's holy and gracious, or whether it's wicked and wild. That has nothing to do with intelligence. That's character. That's a a lack of a moral compass. Not mine, not yours, but their own.
I have a friend, when I was much younger, she worked in HR, and this was around the time I went back to school because I was a school dropout. I did drop out of school. And I asked her, and I was applying for jobs at the time that I felt I could do, but it required either they say experience or some college level education, right? So I was frustrated and I was like, why aren't I getting hired? So I asked her, I said, why are these jobs asking for college degrees for jobs that you don't really need a college degree? She said, because it's about endurance. It's about, are you able to cope? It's social skills. She said a college degree. Now, this is what she said when I was much younger. She said, in some cases, you need a college degree. Of course, you're not going to let nobody perform surgery on you who is not a surgeon, who didn't go to school. But there are some jobs that you can get that if they train you, you'll do very well and supersede, right? But she said that sometimes, there are jobs that require a level of education because of endurance. Are you able to stick it out? Because college is not easy for a lot of people, right? Do you have good social skills? So there are other ways to be conditioned with college experience other than the education. And I will agree with that based on what people who have went to school and people who hadn't went to school. There's just levels to it. Do people with a higher education have problems like those who don't? Absolutely. But sometimes the people who don't, the people who do or who don't, they approach life changing situations differently. It's just the way it is in most cases, right? It's just it's like that whole thing about having stuff to lose, having dignity, having a little dignity, doing stuff with a little bit more tact, poise, grace, if you will. So there's levels to it. There is levels to it where having some level of education can help you in a social, to be social, better socially inclined than not having it, so to speak.
See, I think all education is necessary, but all degrees are not required. And so so whether you go to school and you decide to walk away, you still pursue education, whether it's going to conferences, reading books, whatever, because none of us are born with everything we need to know to thrive, right? But that doesn't require a degree to get there. I mean, I have lots of degrees. I have a terminal degree.
What's a terminal degree?
A doctorate. That's like.
Oh, okay. So okay, go ahead.
And from a corporate perspective, I didn't make any more money than I made when I had my master's. And what my bachelor's allowed me to do was simply get in the door. And as a black woman, it's hard to get into corporate America and be taken seriously without having some kind of paperwork behind you. So all it did was just open the door for me to come in and show my stuff. But it was never about, it was always for me about education. If I was going to pursue it, I was going to get certified in that pursuit. Yeah, you understand?
Alex is in here. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Doc. Alex, if you want to come up, please do. Go ahead.
So, no, I mean, so the net, like I said before, intelligence has nothing to do with any formal educational pursuit that you do, that you take, and that you actually achieve. It really is about you being able to take the day-to-day and apply it to what it is you're trying to manifest.
And everyone has their different output. Like you stated something that Drop Queen didn't agree with, and that can happen. You know, even that's why I say when it comes to science, right? I'm around scientists a lot, and I've been in some rooms with scientists. They all see different. They can work on the same project, working with the same program, but they all looking for something different. In fact, they bump heads on the information that they gather. You know what I'm saying? So it doesn't mean, I mean, they all there for a particular program. They're all there for the same program, but the data that they get from the admissions, the data they get from the reports, they see it all differently. And so when they do their individual reports, their reports are different. Because what they, the whatever numbers or whatever information that they get, they see something differently, and they all report on it and they send it to the director or the head of the whoever, right? So people have some of the same talents, the same gifts, but their knowledge based on where they sit, what their angle is, how they perceive information, in totality, it can become different for each individual, even though they have a common goal.
Yeah, and that's the missing part, right? Is that in the diversity of thought, we fail to come to a collective understanding and respect, because it's my way or the highway. It's what I said, what I think. And I just want to acknowledge this Miss Miami, because she said this a lot of times in your chat, in terms of having what did she call it, critical thinking skills. So that's thrown around a lot on TikTok. Critical thinking, emotional intelligence, cultural intelligence. First of all, those three things are necessary, but those three things have to be learned. You have to invest the time to understand what critical thinking is, because critical thinking is more than just not saying what comes to your head. It's bigger than that. Emotional intelligence is not just not cussing somebody out, because sometimes folks need to be cussed out. The emotional intelligence is deciding when that needs to be done and how it needs to be done, right? So I just want to say, like, I 100% agree, critical thinking is a lack on these here TikTok streets, as is emotional intelligence, as is cultural intelligence. But people have to pursue that like they pursue learning how to drive, learning how to cook, learning how to please their mate. Whatever it is that you want to be good at, you invest the time to learn how to do it and do it well.
Well said, Doctor. You brought something to mind. There was an article a while back that I read in Reader's Digest. In fact, I don't know. I think Reader's Digest is still out there. I think I'm going to get a new subscription, to be honest with you. I like reading Reader's Digest. There's certain magazines that I still like to get to come to my house. All of this is on the internet, but sometimes you just want to put a book or magazine in your hand and read it. But I remember reading a while back, I think it was Reader's Digest, about common sense is really not that common. You know how some people go, oh, that's just common sense. Well, common sense is really not really common if you really think about it, because it depends on where we come from, where, our upbringing, our atmosphere, our social life, what I'm saying, all of that come into play of what is common to us. Like you might say, so you and I on the panel and Drop Queen, we could be talking about the same thing and we could all say, oh, that's common sense. But if we was to actually talk about what's common sense, we're going to probably say something different because of where we sit in life and our experiences. So common sense is also something that has to be taught.
100%.
But what's common to you? I don't even really think there's a such thing as common sense.
That's what I was saying, Drop.
Yeah, what is common? There's nothing that's really common. And even when you gave the example of the scientists, they have to look at things different. You don't want an echo chamber. You cannot learn from an echo chamber. If you get scientists in there who all specialize in the same thing, doing the same thing, looking at the same thing, you will never find what's missing or what's lacking, or you won't find what's needed to really move things forward. You know what I mean? But you have to have a group of scientists who understand the end goal and are working together to meet that goal. They all may think different, but they're going to try to understand and accept and see